On this episode of The Baldest, Bryan Powell shares his incredible story of how going bald ended up saving his life. We also talk about his project, The.Bald.Bible, the future of the bald community, and why so many of us wish we shaved our heads sooner. All right, let's get into it.
My mom, always cut my hair growing up, and I think I was, visiting her or whatever, and she was cutting my hair, and I was probably, 26 or 7 when I fully started, buzzing it short. I didn't go down all the way at the time. You kinda ease into it, when you're, stepping into cold water, and my mom was buzzing my hair, and she noticed this, little mole on the back of my head, and she was like, "Oh, we should probably get the dermatologist to look at this," and then the dermatologist was like, "Actually, I'm gonna send you to the skin cancer doctor." I was like, oh, "Okay, cool. Do we make an appointment?" He's like, "No, I think you should go today."
Welcome to The Baldest, a show about self acceptance and the people changing the conversation around baldness. I'm Steve, and today I'm joined by Bryan Powell. He is the creator of The Bald Bible. He's also a musician, filmmaker, poet, and one of the thoughtful voices reshaping how people think about going bald. We talk about his hair loss journey, how going bald may have ended up saving his life, his short film Harry, his book that he's working on, and where we think the bald community is heading. Here's my conversation with Bryan Powell.
Yeah, I mean, even physical media is coming back. There's a lot of push for, especially after licensing stuff started getting pulled off of streaming, and I think kids are. I think it's part of the '90s obsession. They just want to own stuff because everything
Mm.
that they've had as a kid, everything's been streaming or subscription or whatever.
Oh, that's so true. Man, I didn't think about all this stuff.
It's all I think about. All I think about is film and pop culture and all that crap.
Well, I think that's a good segue, Brian. The longer I've known you, the more things that I've learned about you. I first found you because you were making something called Bald Bible. It was an Instagram. And I'm like, this guy's
Yes.
on to something really cool here. He's highlighting like bald quotes or bald facts. And then I find all these other things about you. You do poetry, you play in a band, you make films. So I don't even know what my question is. How have you always been like a creative person and that's just like the really like the core of who you are and where does that come from?
I mean, yeah. The short answer is yeah. I mean, I've always kind of been that way ever since a kid. I've always been drawing or kind of drawn to movies, TV, cartoons, and music. And I mean, I started playing in a band when I was about 15. And around the same time, I would, write the lyrics, which eventually got me into poetry and writing short stories, which became, filmmaking and writing scripts and wanting to get into that world and, designing flyers. And so kind of doing art that way. So, I mean, all my hobbies kind of inter, intertwined with each other. And it's like a big Venn diagram of all my interests. Um, and then I went bald. And then I was like, well, let's see, let's write a book about bald people. And to kind of take it back to how you first discovered me, Bald Bible just kind of became this project or idea of, sharing, pictures of The Rock with a quote about, The Rock going bald, or George Costanza from Seinfeld and his insecurity, or Bruce Willis saying, "I'm a man, and just because I'm bald, I'll kick your ass," or whatever, on the set of Die Hard, and Dolly Parton saying that she loves bald men. And so yeah, it just started as taking these little snippets, and then I've kind of in my head I have this whole book that I'm gonna write called The Bald Bible, and it's a huge undertaking. So I was like, well, in the meantime, let me create an Instagram page, see if there's even any interest in this kind of a thing. And it's growing pretty well. I post 3 times a week. I usually schedule them. I actually haven't posted in a while, but anyway, yeah, it's gaining a lot of attention from bald people. And I found you through there, and that's awesome. And here we are now. So, I'm doing something right.
Yeah, and I think that's such a cool idea because I don't know, other than a select few people, I don't know who's really paying attention to bald people sort of as a group, I think. So when I saw that, I was like, "Oh man, this guy's doing something with bald people. I'm doing something with bald people." And come to find out there's other bald people doing bald people things, but you've been doing bald people things for a little while now. You had that fantastic film, Harry, which I enjoyed so much. I there's something there's like I don't really know how to describe what I'm about to say to you. It felt very British to me. Does that resonate with you at all? Like the sense of humor just felt kind of dry and British, and which I personally enjoy very much.
Yeah, well, there might be another reason for that because the movie starts off with me, or the short film, talking to a guy via Skype or Zoom or whatever it is, aging myself. And the guy I'm speaking with is British, and his Instagram is Bald Cafe, and he's got like, I don't know, probably a couple 100,000 followers, if not a million. And his whole thing is, he basically like urges men or pushes guys who are balding to just go ahead and shave it and shave your head and step into your confidence. And he's kind of become, I think he just coaches people now just to like own that. Like I think he's become a life coach out of creating that page about,
Mm.
owning being bald, which is great for him. I think he's like built a whole business out of it. But when we were doing the film, we were like, well, how can we start it? How can my character kind of, show that he's dealing with this dilemma of confidence? And we were like, well, let's reach out to Bald Cafe and see if he would be down to do this. And he was. And so we interviewed him and had him record it and send us his thing. And it ended up being the perfect intro to the short film, I think.
Yeah, that's super cool, and I'm a big fan of Bald Cafe because yeah, he's huge now, and
Yeah.
and I think that was such a great way to start it because you have this character who is clearly not happy about being bald. And the juxtaposition of Bald Cafe, who's super helpful and supportive about being bald, and then not to give too much away, but everybody else that Harry comes across is just the complete opposite. And yeah, it's so funny. And you wrote that, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, it's pretty much based on a true story. I just thought it was such a funny thing that I've never really seen before. Is I've never really seen a film or a short film about strictly about being bald, and so I was like, it's inherently kind of funny. I mean, usually in movies or like in the show Seinfeld, George Costanza, like bald people for the most part until recently were kind of the butt of the joke.
Mm.
They were either the villains or they were like the comedic relief. And then people like Bruce Willis, and then later like The Rock, who's the biggest star in the world. They're all bald, and but being bald is cool now. But it wasn't always like that. And yeah, I just kind of wrote this short film to kind of be like, hey, it's okay to laugh at yourself, and it's okay to, at the end, he kind of gains confidence and he like meets a woman, and that was kind of one of his biggest insecurities. So yeah, I mean, it's just kind of my love letter to being bald, I guess, in a way, and me owning it.
Well, I think you did such a great job because I've actually been watching old Seinfeld episodes, and the one I watched the other day was George hears that there's this cure for baldness in China, so he has to call China, and he uses the Chinese food delivery guy to call them, and then he puts the stuff on his head, and it smells really bad, and of course the audience, including myself, is dying laughing. It's hilarious, but your short film does such a good job of being funny, but also you empathize with Harry because he's not having a good time. It's not all it's not all everybody laughing all the time at him. And I think it
Yeah,
it
he
it
has a
shows
hard
off
time.
yeah, he has a hard time, and it shows off that no, this is a struggle for him as a character and for a lot of guys. And then but you also had, plenty of humor in there too. So you're right. In the 90s it was all being bald as a joke. Let's all laugh at the bald guy. But now it's like,
Yeah.
well, we can still laugh about being bald, but you made something that made it more, I think, relatable because you're showing it in a more more traumatic light for him, especially. I mean, the boss rips his hat off and throws it in the garbage. I mean, brutal stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah, you feel for him.
He goes to ask about plugs and he's like, you're too far gone. You're too bald. Like, it's it's pretty brutal, yeah. I don't think I haven't really heard any feedback from a bald person now that I think about it from Harry. I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, it's really funny. Oh, it's a good little short." And I don't think I've ever heard the bald community's take on it. So I'm glad that you saw it. Yeah.
Oh, well, we need to get it out there. We need to put this thing. Let's make some clips and put them on TikTok. We need to get people to see this
Yeah.
thing because it really is. I mean, I'm not just saying this just because you're the guest. It's like, no, I really enjoyed it. Anytime somebody says, "Hey, look at my independent short film," I'm like, okay, here we go, and I'm like, man, this is great. I'm like, how many people worked on this thing? This is really good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wrote it. Me and basically we were like a three-man band. Me and my buddy Bronson, who I still make short films with, and my other friend Scott filmed it. And then, you know, we just kind of put it together. And we kind of asked, everybody we knew to be in it and to be the extras in the office. And a couple local comedians were in it. And I remember one of the days, the office scene where the boss rips my beanie off. I actually filmed that one morning at like 6 a.m. or something, and then we filmed all the way up until I was like, I have to leave to go to work, or I'm gonna be late and lose my job. Like, so we literally, it was just like renegade, as independent as you can get. No budget. We just did it every way we could. Definitely, probably illegal. Some of the places we shot, like in the church. We didn't get permits. We didn't ask permission for anything. We just made it because we felt we had to.
Well, it looks really good, and it looks polished and professional for an illegally shot film, allegedly.
Yeah, yeah. It was totally legal.
Totally legal film with all the
Lots of
permits were
permits. We had
just
every
pending.
permit.
They cleared eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. That's what I meant to say.
So we talked a little bit before we started filming, but could you maybe take us through your hair loss journey, and then at what point did you make Harry after going bald?
Yeah. Well, so when I first started losing my hair and first started thinning and noticing it, I was probably like 20, probably 25 or so. And then my mom like always cut my hair growing up, and I think I was like visiting her or whatever, and she was cutting my hair, and I was probably like 26 or 7 when I fully started like buzzing it short. I didn't go down all the way at the time. You kind of eased into it, like when you're like stepping into cold water. And, I started going shorter and shorter, and then I started buzzing it probably like, half an inch or so. And my mom was buzzing my hair, and she noticed this like little mole on the back of my head. And she was like, "Oh, like we should probably get the dermatologist to look at this." And we went to the dermatologist, and then the dermatologist was like, "Actually, I'm going to send you to the skin cancer doctor or whatever." And I was like, oh, "Okay, cool. Like, do we make an appointment?" And he's like, "No, I think you should go today." And then so we go to the Skin Cancer Institute, and then the doctor is like, "Yeah, we're going to do this biopsy, now or whatever." And then they do that, and he comes in and he's like, it's a good thing we found this now when we did. Otherwise, a week later, we'd probably be having a different conversation.
Oh my God.
And I was like, holy shit, like going bald saved my life. Cause we never would have seen that mole there. And I actually have a pretty gnarly scar. I don't know if you can see it. Um,
A little
that's
bit.
where they took out this big mole, which ended up being, I forget the technical term for it, but it basically is precancerous. So it was in the process of turning into cancer.
Ooh.
So that was gnarly. And then I would say, uh, I was immediately a lot more grateful. I was like, you know what, being bald's not so bad considering the alternative. Um, but yeah, that was probably, I would say, like 8 or 9 years after that. Um, I had the idea for Harry, and me and a couple friends got together and wrote it. And I had a couple bald friends who were also comedians, who kind of helped. We kind of did like a writer's circle, and we kind of pitched some jokes and stuff. So there's a little bit of like, there's like a little bit of a collaborative project for some of it.
Hmm. Well, now looking back, what would you want people to take away from Harry?
I mean, there's a scene where um, this guy is telling Harry, he's like, well, I mean, you know, look at the Rock and look at Vin Diesel, and Harry goes, "Do I look like the Rock or Vin Diesel? Like, I'm not confident. I'm not jacked, you know." And so, basically, eventually, the lesson is to just be confident, no matter who you are. And so, I mean, that's what I want people to take away. You know, is that whether you're bald or whether it's something else, whether you're short or, you know, something else that's outside of your control, you just got to own it and just, you know, let your personality shine through. And the sooner you know, don't draw attention to or don't care that you're bald, you know, nobody else is going to notice. When you walk into a room, you might be like, especially when you first shave your head or first start balding, like, oh my God, everybody knows I'm bald. They probably think you've always been that way. Like, they don't know, you know? I have friends now that I've met later in life, the past like 10 years, and friends of my wife's, and they go, oh man, sometimes I forget you used to have hair. Like, you would look so weird with hair. And I'm like, man, that's so weird hearing people say that, you know? Like, I would look weird with hair. Like, all right, well, they've never seen me with it. So, yeah.
Yeah, for them, I think I think the only people that are worried about people seeing someone be bald is people who are either balding or very insecure about losing their hair because no when's the last time, well, okay, maybe for me it's a little different, but if it just you're at the grocery store and you see a bald guy, you don't go, hey everybody, look what's happening over there by the bananas, it's a bald guy. Like, you don't really react.
Yeah.
So it's weird that we project that other people will have this big reaction. You know, I'm going to walk into work one day and they're all going to be like, look how bald you are. And that just never happens. I don't know. You know, I'm obviously the whole point of this podcast is to talk to bald people. I haven't met one yet who's like, "Oh, everywhere I go, people are just stunned by my baldness." It's like you just kind of blend in with society. You're just another bald guy.
Yeah. But you know what's funny? Sometimes I do think that. Like, every now and then when I'm getting ready for work, especially if I like didn't shave that morning, I'm like, man, I wonder what people just must think of me. Like, I wonder if they think like, oh, look at that young bald guy, that poor guy. No, wait, nobody gives a shit, you know? I don't see other bald people and go, oh man. But what I do, and my wife actually laughs when I do this, we notice each other. Like, when I walk into a restaurant or a new room or like a movie theater, doesn't matter where, I'll go, all right, there's 8 other bald people here. And my wife will be like, okay, is that good? I'm like, I just feel a little more comfortable, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're a community, so when you see more of your kind, you're like, "Oh, good. There's a lot of bald people in here. I just feel better if anything goes down, and this turns
Yeah,
into some sort of like, some sort of gang war. It's like, well, there's my guys over there. And then I'll just I'll just be shoulder to shoulder with them. I'll be like, come on, bald's over here. And let's handle this
yeah.
together.
Let's get out of this hairy situation.
There we go. We got tons of those.
Um, well, yeah, it's funny. Whenever I meet new bald people, like I met a guy at work today, who just joined the team. He's bald, and 9 times out of 10, I'll do the icebreaker thing of being like, oh yeah, like hey, like we have the same barber,
Nice.
and 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, yeah, we do. Like it's something. It's kind of a unspoken. It's almost like people who drive Jeeps, like they have the special wave they do to each other. I feel like bald people just kind of have that like that inside joke or that just like the immediate camaraderie. We have that kind of shared traumatic experience or that shared just life experience, of being bald. It's a truly, I mean, bald people don't know. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's a truly weird thing to go through. Now that it's been so long on the other side, it's like, who cares? But when I was young and losing my hair, I was pretty freaked out.
Yeah. And I think a lot of guys who are not bald are freaking out right now, and they don't tell anyone. It's like in the back of their mind somewhere, and they're either taking something or they're looking up flights to Turkey or they're you know and I genuinely feel sad for these guys because if only you would just talk to
Absolutely.
a bald person like you or me and see, hey, you could just go bald whenever you're ready. And then at least I hope that would eliminate some of that anxiety that they're feeling. But I don't know how it was for you, but I know for me, when I was balding, I was not having a good time at all.
Yeah, and I wish I did it sooner. I wish I shaved my head all the way sooner because sometimes when I look back at pictures and it's just thin and it's like thin here, but there's like hair here, and I was like, what part of me thought that looked better than just shaving my head, Like it in hindsight, it's like, yeah, like I should have shaved it a lot sooner, People trying to hold on, you're just delaying the inevitable, and it's just so much better once you just jump all the way in.
Yeah. And then you have this incredible bald community that you get to fall into. And then when let's say it's your first day at work, which already a very stressful experience, and then you bump into another bald guy like you, and you're like, huh, bald. And then you just feel like, all right, you know what? I got Brian. So this is going to be okay. We've already, you know, and I think that's such a great thing that it's hard to communicate to people who are not bald that once you become bald, it's going to be okay. But we're trying. I
Yeah.
mean, is that something that you hope Bald.Bible will accomplish, or is this just more of just a project that you find extremely interesting?
I mean, it's both. I think it's very interesting. Like, I have the way I have the Instagram page, which again is just kind of a precursor or like kind of research to build up to making a book. But it's like 3 images, which will be, The Rock, Bruce Willis, whatever, and a quote or a fact about him. And then I have every fourth is a follicle facts. And it'll be, something scientific, like talking about the actual different types of hair loss and alopecia and whatever. Or it'll be like, hey, fun fact, like, Jason Alexander, who played George Costanza, actually did try wigs and stuff before fully accepting his baldness. or, just different things. I mean, I just think it's really fascinating. And, even back in olden times, like researching when the first wigs for men, came out, like there's just so much fascinating stuff about bald culture and bald history. And that's kind of my goal with the book, is to educate. Obviously, I think above all else is to entertain and show like that, acceptance and confidence is the most important thing you can do if you're losing your hair. But I also just think it's fascinating stuff, you know, just the history behind. And you know what else, actually? I think it's always been interesting to me that nobody really knows why we go bald.
Mm.
And why the horseshoe pattern? Like, why do we still have it on the sides and the back? What is there, like an evolutionary reason? Like, no one really knows that, and that to me blows my mind. Like, that's super interesting.
Yeah, this is not a new problem. I'm going to use that, put that
Yeah,
in air quotes. This is not new,
yeah. How dare
but
you?
I know, right? I'll edit that out. But people have been going bald for thousands of years. Another argument that I make for why this is not that big of a deal, because you're not the first bald person, but we don't have a reason why. Do you know some of the hypotheses about why it happens?
No, but before you tell me, I just want to go back to you saying you're not the first bald person. But imagine if you were,
Ooh,
and you
okay.
started losing your hair, but you were the only one, and
Uh-huh.
everybody else was like, "What? Like, is he a witch? Like, do you have like leprosy or the plague? Like, what? That
Hmm.
would be scary."
Okay, well, you know what? I feel like that would freak people out. If you were the first one, then they'd be like, "What's up with this guy?" But then again, that long
That's
ago,
the
you
movie
could.
we gotta make.
That's the movie, because everybody
The
died at
first
like.
bald man.
That's it. You know what? Write that down, because everybody way back when was dying young. So maybe people never even got to bald. They just,
Oh, interesting.
29, you just kind of dropped,
Yeah.
or you didn't really notice it. But the only hypothesis that I've heard that makes sense is that it is a way that humans are able to quickly distinguish the elders of the tribe. That's the only
Okay.
useful evolutionary idea. I don't know. I need to get
But
a
then why
scientist on
not
here.
all men? Why isn't it every man goes bald at a certain age? Like, that would make sense. And
That
that would
would.
actually be interesting, because then there would be no stigma. It's just, oh, everybody goes bald.
Yeah.
It means
Yeah.
you're smart now. You're wise.
Exactly. But yeah, that's the only one that's the only hypothesis that I know of. But
That is
obviously, that's not.
interesting.
We need to talk to a anthropologist or something to see what the reason really
Yeah,
is.
Darwin.
Or maybe we just weren't supposed to live as long as we live now. And this is just all part of it. I mean, you think
Yeah.
about most animals on the planet, they don't live.
Once you go bald, you're supposed to be dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I should be dead right now, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So I'm just bald instead. So cherish the time. We're all on borrowed time, but me much more than the rest of you, because I'm bald.
Yeah. I'm technically dead right now.
Mm.
I just
Well,
don't know it.
that's how you get out of work tomorrow. You're just like, I just found out that if you're bald, that means you're supposed to be dead. So I just want to let you know, I
I'm calling in bald.
I'm calling in bald. That's in Harry too. That's what that's what he does. He calls in bald.
Yes. He calls in bald. I like that.
So do you have any plans for another film or short film?
Um, yeah, well, I mean, I'm always filming short films and stuff, and me and my friend have a YouTube channel called Lower Levels, and we put mostly like sci-fi stuff and kind of thrillers and short horror films and stuff on there. But um, I would love to do Harry as a full length feature film. One day make it more of like a rom com and still dramatic and still maybe like a dark comedy. But yeah, I don't know. I'm always writing ideas, and I'm always writing things that maybe are outside of my budget or like my range. Especially since I still I work a 9 to 5 day job, and I have all these other side projects and music and other stuff. But yeah, I'm always working on something.
Before we continue, if you're enjoying the show, the best way to support The Baldest is by subscribing on whatever platform you are watching or listening. If this episode helped you, made you laugh, made you feel less alone, please consider sharing it with someone that you think could use it. And if you'd like to support the show even further, I'll leave links to all of my social media and Patreon in the description. Let's get back to the conversation. Well, I mean, I look forward to it if you do. How did you get started with movies as a viewer of movies? I'll start with that one.
Well, I mean, it all kind of came from my love of movies. I took a class in high school called film study slash media literacy, and we watched a bunch of boring stuff, and the Citizen Kanes and the all the stuff you're supposed to as a film nerd or whatever. Um, but the teacher we had just really, it's always a teacher, he just like really inspired me, and I was in the class with my cousin, and me and my cousin just kind of started making films after that. We had one of those big cameras that his dad has where you actually put the VHS tape like in the side of the camera, and it records directly onto the VHS tape. And we made a horror movie spoof. I had an old Scream mask, and we actually made basically Scary Movie before Scary Movie. It was called Oh the Horror, and it was just like making fun of, it was just a bumbling idiot in a Scream mask going around killing people with like tennis rackets and stuff. And yeah, I don't know, it just kind of took off from there. Slash, I never stopped. And I guess over time, I just got better and better and started meeting more people who, wanted to make movies in their spare time.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What is this like horror and sci-fi? Is that like your favorite genres or maybe the most nostalgic for you?
I think it's definitely, yeah, a nostalgic thing, as well as, I mean, I've got a Jason poster there and Return of the Living Dead here, but yeah, I don't know. There's just something about horror. You know, being a kid and and going to your friend's house, and his dad is like, "Yeah, you can rent whatever you want at Blockbuster," and we're just like, "Really? Like, okay, we're gonna get a Freddy Krueger movie and a Jason Voorhees movie," and and then you're seeing stuff that you shouldn't be seeing at that age, and it's just so cool. And now you think back and you're like, "Yeah, that makes sense why I am the way I am, I guess." Um, but yeah, and then I love stuff like Terminator, Aliens. I loved Philip K. Dick books growing up as a kid. So he his adaptations include Blade Runner, Total Recall, Minority Report, and yeah, I've just always loved sci-fi and stuff like that. I like being, as much as I love comedies and as much as I love writing and making comedies and stuff like Harry. I like that sense of escapism and being transported to another world.
Mm. Do you find going back and watching like old sci-fi movies that there's something so satisfying about the practical effects that they used back then? Because I watched Terminator
Absolutely.
2 a couple weeks ago. My God, what an incredible movie. And then I saw on your Instagram, you were talking about 1990 and you mentioned Tremors. And I lit up because Tremors is one of my favorite
Yeah.
movies of all time. And it's really ah, so much of the movie is just like running along a desert with a camera at ground level and then just shooting
Yeah.
air out of cracks in the dirt. And
Yeah.
I
Sand just
remember
flying out.
watching
Oh,
that
it's
as
so
a kid.
scary.
Yeah, it's like nobody
Yeah.
move. That's a big part of the movie too. nobody move. Reba McEntire's over there, and nobody move. I think I really love, I mean, I'm a big Godzilla fan. I just love the way that
Also,
movies are
Bert
made.
from Tremors is like one of the funniest characters ever made. Like
B-
the gun nut who's married to Reba,
Oh, yeah. That guy. Yeah,
he's
yeah, that's an
such
incredible
great
character.
comedic relief. He's so
Yeah.
funny.
But also
Yeah, there's
useful
something
in that
charming about that
situation.
whole cast.
Yeah, they
Hmm.
all have a purpose, and some of them's purpose is to jump up and down on a pogo stick with a Walkman on while everyone shouts at them from a distance and say, "Stop jumping," because that thing is going to pull you underneath the earth and kill you, and then they have to run over there and get it.
Yeah, I mean, there's something about the '90s movies and even '80s movies, like The Thing, and I mean, practical effects will always look better. And you know what's crazy about that too? Since you got me going, like Jurassic Park, right? Came out in 1993. The best practical effects, the best computer effects still look good today. And then you have movies coming out in 2026, almost 30 years later, and the CG looks like crap because they don't spend enough time or money on it because what, do they not care? Like it's just so we know the technology exists. Why do we still have movies that look like crap? Like use
Yeah.
practical effects or don't use CG if you can't afford to make it look good. I don't understand. It makes me so mad. These are the things that I get worked up about.
Well, good. I'm glad we got there. Do you think it's just that people don't have the people that are making movies now, not all of them, but some, they just don't have the passion that people had in, I mean, all the way back to when film first came out. I mean, you look at The Wizard of Oz, it's like, my God, were they trying? And or King Kong or any of
Incredible
these
set
great
design.
films.
Yeah.
And it's like they put everything into that. And now it's like, well, we'll just make a reboot of whatever thing and throw some big names on there and hope that it makes money, as opposed to like, no, I can't help but make this thing and I'm going to be uncompromising about it.
Right. Well, I think both still exist. You know, there are some filmmakers that still make original movies and make, one movie. Not everything has to be a franchise with 12 movies. I mean, it's crazy how they're just doing that to everything. But that's the other reason is money. We're gonna reboot this because oh look in 1995 it made this many millions of dollars. We could do that again. It already has a built-in audience who loved it. They're gonna love it a second time. And the special effects thing, it's because they apparently do bidding contracts. So if you're a special effects team and you're trying to work on this movie, oh, congratulations, you're the lowest bidder, so you get this
Right.
movie. So, okay, great. Now they don't have the money to actually make it look good. Like, everything is just rushed to put it out to make a profit. And that's what happens when you commoditize art, unfortunately. It becomes a business and, less about telling a story.
Yeah. That's why Hotel Transylvania 3 is not nearly as good as Hotel Transylvania 1.
And it needs more bald people.
And it needs more bald people. Are there any bald people? Frank, what was like the Frankenstein character? Was he bald? You had the mummy. You had that
I hate to tell
green
you, I've
goo.
actually never seen it.
The first two are not bad. The first two are not bad at all. I would say if you're ever bored enough and you run out of incredible movies to watch, there's always
I will get
Hotel
down on
Transylvania.
animated movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a soft spot for a good cartoon movie. I saw the Mitchells versus the Machines recently. That one's so good, so funny. It's the same animators as Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay.
Um, what else? Hoppers. I've heard Hoppers is really good. I haven't seen it yet, but I want
Yeah.
to.
There's so many. I mean, there's just so many movies now. But I think that's the great thing about movies is, well, one, there's always going to be more. But then, you know, let's say, it's 2026 now, but let's say in 2035, some movie came out this year or next year, and you're like, actually, I guess I'll watch that. I've always wanted to. like Interstellar. I saw that I think like 2 years ago, and that came out much longer than 2 years ago. I'm like, man, this movie is great. Matthew McConaughey is really doing a great job here. So I think
Yeah.
movies are just such a great time capsule that you can always go back to and say, man, that was a really cool thing they did at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree. And I think that's why, movies like Terminator 2, for example, that you said, I mean, that to me is one of the greatest action movies ever made. And the practical effects look great. The CG still looks pretty good. And it's just so fun. It's so epic. It's so of its time, but it still feels relevant, you know? Some movies you watch and you're like, this could have been made today. And I feel like that's definitely one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, with AI and corporations and yeah, it's when when you watch Terminator 2, you don't feel like it's I mean, unfortunately, when you watch Tremors, you're like, "Okay, come on. This is a 1990 movie and it feels like it." You know, it's goofy and it's fun. But yeah, Terminator 2 takes itself very seriously, and I think you as a viewer does too because it's like, "Well, this is some serious stuff we're talking about. What if this really does happen?"
Yeah. Well, and I found out that helicopter scene where they like fly the helicopter under the highway bridge.
Mhm.
Um, they had a big issue trying to do that because the stunt coordinator or something said like we can't do that. They ended up doing it anyway, kind of like around him or something, or they got a new stunt coordinator or something. And you watch that and you're like, that is very dangerous. And it's crazy that they got that shot. And it's so funny now because that movie was made, what, 19, was it 1990? 1992? I watched a movie with, what was it called? It was the one with Jason Momoa and, um, oh, and that wrestler, uh, Batista. And anyway, there's like this highway chase scene and there's a helicopter thing and it's very similar and it's all CG. And it's like, man, they had the guts and the whatever to like film it back then. And maybe because they couldn't do it with CG, but like it looks timeless. And then you watch these new movies that come out and you're like, I can tell this is fake, so I'm not interested. Like the stakes are lower, you know? That was
Yeah.
real and it was amazing and it's still awesome.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jackie Chan and just all
Oh
his own
yeah, the
stunts. I mean,
best.
what a maniac. I mean, it just there was one time where he fell off of something and it like just put a big hole in his head and he just
I
oh
think he's
that
probably broken 1,000 bones.
yeah. It's incredible. What the
He's
length that
incredible.
the length that people are willing to go to for their art, I think is such a cool thing. And I don't know. I wish that more people had that passion. I we were talking earlier about how
Can I say something that ties it back?
oh, do it.
Jackie Chan doing all his own stunts and giving it his all and the Terminator thing and being bald. It's the authenticity
Mm,
that we like, that you can feel. You know? It's the honesty and it's the just the putting it out there and saying, this is my thing. Look at, like I don't know if that's too cheesy, but like there's something to that, to like the realness of it, Like I'm not trying to hide with, hey, I'm not trying to put CG and shit, like I don't know.
yeah. One, I love that you pivoted it back to being bald. What a Brian is a professional guest, everybody. Did you just see what he did? He was like,
I
let me just bank this off the glass and just dunk it back. That was so that
I
was
feel
so
silly
good.
about it now, but when
You
I
should
when
not.
I heard it, I was like, this is all tied together somehow.
Hmm. That's I wish I had been like, okay, let's write this in real quick. This is what you're good, Brian. You're good. I knew you would be a great guest. How do you feel about the bald community since you've started? making bald things like Harry or Bald.Bible. Like, have you noticed a change or a progression?
I mean, I feel like I don't think I can really take credit for anything like that, but I feel like society as a whole has kind of shifted. And I don't know if that started with like Michael Jordan or like other athletes, or if it's, Jason Statham and The Rock and Bruce Willis being like action stars and hey, it's badass to be bald, or some kind of combination of, or maybe it's social media and us all having access to each other. Like I said, growing up, I was like the only person in my close friends group that was bald, and I didn't have other people to talk to. But now, thanks to online communities, there's so many resources. You're not alone, and things. I mean, at the end of the day, who cares? You're bald, so what? I don't think it always used to be like that, and I think there's definitely an audience for it now, and I think there's a desire to. Um, at the end of the day, everybody just wants to feel like they belong somewhere, right? And so I think that's part of it, is that community and being able to laugh and being able to go, oh, that's a badass bald guy, or whatever it is. Um, yeah, and I'm just doing my little part, I guess, to contribute something to that field.
Well, I think that's great. We need more bald people making bald stuff for bald people and for not bald people as well. I think we've also sort of as a society we went through a time of it was okay to make fun of people for how they look, and
Yeah.
I feel like baldness was sort of a lagging one. Maybe that's just my own experience, but I think I would love to say we're getting closer to, yeah, it's just not that fun to make fun of how people look anymore in a mean-spirited way.
Hmm.
Obviously, there's gonna be if you're not ribbing each other, I mean, then you're not really living. But it's I don't, I don't feel like people should be shaming people for being bald, and I don't see that much of it online. I see plenty of people saying, "Oh no, that'll never be me," or "I would just go do this," but I think
Right.
I think we've turned a corner. George Costanza was a long time ago, and now it's like, okay, people are bald, and they're just bald people doing their bald thing, and it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I feel like Larry David, um, at least for me personally, was a big influence in both like making fun of yourself for being bald, but also kind of having the confidence and also the camaraderie. Like I think there's an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where he literally says like, I feel more comfortable if the waiter's a bald person, or if the whatever's a bald person. And I didn't really ever have that thought, but I feel like subconsciously I connected to that. And I was like, yeah, like when I do see other bald people out in the wild, like I do feel a little more comfortable because again, there's that like shared experience, or, there's that like, oh, I'm not alone in this being bald thing, for better or worse, whatever that even means. And he's the writer of the show, and having people call him a hey, you bald fuck, I mean, like that's being able to laugh at it. I think is important, and I think that's a really good medicine at the end of the day. And I guess in a way, that Harry was kind of doing that as well, was making fun of it, but also accepting it. And again, part of it was autobiographical, but mostly I just wanted to make a funny movie and make people laugh and kind of point out like how absurd it is to to go bald and not know how to deal with it, and then realizing you don't have to deal with it. There's nothing to deal
Mm.
with.
Yeah, that's such a great lesson. It's you don't actually have to deal with it. It ends up being such a nothing when you
Yeah.
finally do it. that it's not like you don't need directions. It's just like you can just be bald. And the second you do it, you're done. You're you're just being bald now. And then when you get a bald waiter, you're like, all right, here we go. Good. The waiter's bald. This is gonna be this is gonna be a great dinner.
He's
And
getting a
then you
big
can
tip.
he's getting a big tip. And then you can laugh about it. It's just then you can have that moment with the waiter and be like, all right, yeah. I always tip bald guys an extra 5% kind of thing. So
Yeah. How's our barber?
yeah. That's I would love maybe that's another book too, just a giant collection of bald jokes.
I'm pretty sure I Googled one time, like, bald jokes or good bald jokes, and I don't think there really are any. They're all, like, really cheesy like that, but yeah, we'll have to make some.
We'll have to make some. We'll have to get some of your bald comedian writers on it.
Yeah.
Have you heard about any of the bald meetups that are going on throughout the country?
I actually saw on Instagram the one that was in New York. And it was funny because I've never been to New York in my life, but I went, I think, like the week before that happened. And then I saw that he was on your podcast, or I saw you resharing something or something. But no, I haven't. Uh, I didn't really know that was a thing, but I'm happy that it is. And I wonder if San Antonio or Austin, Texas will have any soon that I can go to.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, it's been I haven't been to one yet. I'm going to LA and then I'm going to one in Vancouver. And yeah, I'm really excited because it's I feel like for people like us, it's like, yeah, we're just balds, no big deal. But I can't imagine what it's like to just be I mean, we get pretty excited when the waiter's bald. Can you imagine being around like 4 or 500 other bald people? Like
Yeah.
I just want to know what that feels like.
Yeah. Well, and again, I feel like, it really is a community. Like, I feel like, at least speaking for myself, I'm more likely to be like, oh, yeah, cool. Like, this bald he's doing this podcast about I'm there. I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to, like, oh, cool. This guy made a short film about being, like, let's all watch it. Like, I feel like everybody there will be supportive of whatever everybody else is doing just because we're bald. And that I don't know if that sounds like elitist or weird, but like I feel like that's just part of the thing, part of the deal.
Yeah. I've had people describe baldness as like like a racial group. I mean, we really are a we all look alike and society looks at us all the same way.
Minority, yeah,
And
group.
you know, it's and even women with alopecia or people going through cancer, I mean, society sees us all as bald people. And
Yeah.
but we see that in each other as well. So yeah, it really is just this group of people that I think that we we should connect with each other and make sure everybody's all right. How are we looking as balds, and does anybody need anything? And I think that's where like like a film like Harry is just if someone was a new bald or thinking about being bald, I'd be like, check this out. This is what bald people are doing. They're making some cool stuff like this. And I don't know. I think balding is a very lonely experience because you're just sort of suffering by yourself. But being bald is fun and we have all this cool stuff.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Um, and yeah, I mean, exactly. That goes back to the thing is like, I wish I would have just gone bald and just made the choice and shaved way sooner than I did. There was years of buzzing my hair, short an inch or 2 inches, and it just wasn't the look, man. And it wasn't, it was a sign of where I was in life, which was still insecure, still trying to hold on to the inevitable and delaying the inevitable. And I'm so much happier now. And I mean, it's not even something I really think about that often anymore, but I've never had any issues with being bald. Other than occasionally, there'll be a kid, because kids have no filters, and they'll just walk up and go, "You're bald." And I go, "Thanks, I know, yeah." which is always a shock. But yeah,
Yeah. And then you can just be like, yeah, I know. This is what I'm going for. Like, I'm bald and I know you're shaving all the time, so you're a true bald, you know what I mean? Where it's like you got to keep it tight because, we have a certain look that we're going for here.
yeah. I tell my wife, I'm like, if I didn't have a job or if I was like fully remote, I'm partially remote, but like if I didn't have to be somewhere and I could just wear a hat for like, I don't know, a month straight or 2 months, like I would totally do it just to see how bad things really are. But that's just like a weird kind of fantasy to like grow it out just to see what's left. But man, no regrets though.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's kind of fun. It kind of feels like a special group. Um, you know, and like you're saying, like going through it, going bald is not fun, but once you are bald, it's like I'm one of them, and they're like me.
Yeah. What do you hope is the future of being bald? Do you hope that that people will see this bald community and see your content and other bald creators and the stuff that they're making, and I don't know, we can just destigmatize this thing? Or is the hair growth industry just gonna push harder and harder, like, we have this and we have this and we have this and come get this?
I don't know because especially in like Hollywood, um, a lot of younger people. I mean, you mentioned Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar. He's been vocal about getting implants, and the younger kids, especially, like they it's so readily available in Hollywood, and they have money for stuff, and you almost rarely see bald people now that weren't already bald, like your Ed Harrises and your older actors. So I almost wonder if the representation, I mean, The Rock, it's too late for him to go back into the hair closet or whatever you want to call it, but like, and he's too big. I mean, he wouldn't care. But like, for the younger generations, I feel like they're still afraid to lose their hair. And, I guess as an actor, maybe that's a valid concern. Um, I don't know. I often wonder about that. Like, will we see people naturally going bald in Hollywood, or will the representation of bald people kind of go away, or only be in like sci-fi movies where this alien race are all bald, weird, pale creatures? Um, but yeah, I definitely think the destigmatization is here. I definitely think I mean, there's even like Reddit subreddits like about people shaving and before and afters, and everyone's like, "Oh, you look great," and it's just like it's just dudes. It's just dudes, instilling confidence in other dudes, and I think that's such a great thing. And again, I that's a fairly new thing with the internet and stuff, but um, and everything becoming more specific, niche and group. Um, But I don't know. I also see so many ads and so many things, and it's so easy now. And just take this pill or do this drop on your thing, and it could be a coin toss. I don't know, man. It'll be interesting.
I never thought of that, is that, yeah, we might stop seeing bald representation in Hollywood, well, especially from
I
leading
mean, no,
characters.
yeah, no 25-year-old young actor is gonna opt to not save their hair. Probably,
Yeah.
like I don't know. Yeah.
But movies need villains, and villains are stereotypically bald. So there'll be work for us out there. I just don't think we'll be the main character, but we can dream.
Yeah. Yeah. Doctor Evil.
Why do you think it is that bald people are often the villains in movies?
I don't know. There's I think it's like it's kind of like back in the day with like westerns, right? Like the good guy wore the white cowboy hat or what the regular cowboy hat. The bad guy would wear all black and have the black cowboy hat. It's kind of like the antithesis. Like you'd have your James Deans and your guy with a thick head of hair, and okay, well the opposite of him, the bad guy, we're gonna make him bald or ugly or scary, and bald is scary, I guess. I think it has to do with that. You can't have a bad guy with better hair than the main character.
Oh, I would. I would have my main character be bald and then have be the villain have this big, beautiful mane of hair that he's just always combing. And yeah, then eventually somehow that ends up
Like
being his
Gaston
downfall.
from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, there you go.
but he was vain. So yeah, you got to be vain if you have hair and
Yeah, you've
you're the
got to
bad
be
guy.
vain. So yeah, we have a humble bald guy as the main character, and then you have vain golden maned guy as the villain. It'll just be the poster will probably look a little weird, but I don't care.
But I don't know. I mean, with Batista and The Rock and all these other wrestlers and Jason Statham, almost every action star I can think of is other than like John Cena. He's got a great head of hair, but it's a lot of bald guys. I would say it's probably like 70% or maybe like 60. A lot of bald guys kicking ass out there.
I've never laid it out like that, but yeah, the majority of action stars right now are bald. So well, let's hope that continues. Or then new action stars will be pressured. They'll be like, listen, get rid of that hair. That's not what we do up here. We're trying. This is an action movie. We can't
Yeah.
have hair.
You want to be a star, don't you?
Yeah, that that's the new Hollywood trend. It's like they're just pressuring people. Listen, you got to just
Bald
shave it.
maxing.
Yeah. So with Bald Bible, are you going to be reaching out to anybody and speaking with other bald people, or are you just pulling from history?
Yeah, I actually I was thinking about reaching out to Bald Cafe to either get feedback and then hopefully write like a blurb or something, or maybe like write like a story. Um, I haven't quite figured it out if it's gonna be like a bunch of other users or rather like local bald people and their crazy stories. I'm sure every bald guy's got a crazy story about being bald in some way or another. The idea was to write a sort of foreword where I kind of talk about, you know, my journey in going bald and finding out I could have died of cancer if I didn't go bald uh and then like kind of how I started diving into the history of this and that and bald culture and kind of seeing bald people on TV and in movies and being like, "Oh, that's cool," like or if it's, more of a collective of like, hey, these are bald people and these are their stories or some combination thereof. But I would definitely love to have, yeah, as many people. It's not like I can reach out to The Rock and be like, "Will you write something for my book?" But if I can get you and other people involved, I definitely think that would be something fun. Yeah.
I would love it if you reached out to The Rock and he just said yes straight away. He'd be like, "I loved Harry," and and there he is. He's on the cover of your book. That would be so cool.
He's like, "I've been waiting for this day."
Yeah, finally. Do you have any favorite bald characters from all of the movies that you've watched? Which I'm sure it's many, many movies. Is there like a favorite bald character that you have?
Um, you know, one thing that fascinates me is actually the opposite. Is like Nick Cage or more specifically like John Travolta and all these people and just being like, wow, like look at how awful that wig is. Like why why didn't he just be bald in this? Like and actually one of the follicle facts on the page is how and I had no idea about this, but John Travolta and Pitbull, famous bald guy, were really close friends and Pitbull was like, "Bro, you got to stop Like, just no one cares. Just go bald. And he did, and that's when he started embracing his new bald look. And I think he looks incredible bald. And some of those wigs were really bad and really obvious. And actually, it's kind of crazy to me that a lot of people in Hollywood with that amount of money have really bad wigs. But maybe the technology is just not really there unless you go to Turkey. But I don't know, man. I've never thought about that. That's a great question.
I did just spring it on you.
Yeah. It's more so like actors, really. Like I
Yeah.
love Stanley Tucci. I love that he like has a cookbook. And he just seems so confident and he just seems so himself. Larry David obviously is a huge inspiration and just I think one of the funniest people ever. Um, yeah, bald character. I don't know. I'll have to think about that, and we'll talk about it next time you have me on, whenever that'll be.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, I'm thinking now, I'm stumped by my own question too. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that I could think of one. I mean, yeah, you have all these great action stars, but I don't know that there's a character that I think of where it's like, man, that was a really good character because you normally the actor is bald, so it's kind of part and parcel with the actor versus, oh, here's a bald
yeah.
character that was specifically bald. I mean, I know G.I. Jane, Sigourney Weaver shaved her head.
Like
Um,
Professor X is cool, but I'm not really a huge like superhero kind of guy. But I mean, that's a cool bald character. Morpheus from The Matrix.
yeah, Morpheus from The Matrix.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Okay, good. I knew you'd come up with one. And kind of everybody that got pulled out of The Matrix was bald at first.
Yeah, that's true. Because guess what? In the real world, people are bald.
Yeah, if this is The Matrix, you're all really bald. You just don't know it.
Yeah, we're awake.
Yeah. And we're supposed to be dead.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen,
Which one was
the
he?
blue guy.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a good one.
That's a cool bald character. And he did go bald because he kind of blew up or whatever, became all radioactive. But I mean, it's kind of like going through chemo or something, I mean, he should still be proud to be
I mean,
a member of the bald community. We accept him.
yeah, however you get to bald, we're fine. However you got here, it doesn't matter. Now that you're here, you're one of us.
How do you feel about people who shave their head and are not bald?
I mean, aren't they just as bald as us? I mean, if you do it one time, well, I mean, okay, but if you're just like, oh, there's a rapper, Jadakiss. He was always bald. And I found out like last year, because somebody asked him, they're like, wait, you have hair? And he's like, yeah, of course. And they're like, but you were bald for like 20 years. And he's like, yeah, I just wanted to look tough. And that was in style back then. So I was just bald for like 20 years.
Wow.
And now he just has his hair longer. And yeah, so he's not actually bald. I think that's pretty crazy. But I mean, if you're willing to
I
put
had
in that
no
much
idea.
effort to be bald, I mean, like, well, you're just as bald as us.
That's fair.
But nobody gave him a hard
I don't
time, I
know.
bet, for being bald, because he was tough.
You know, I was gonna say I don't like it, but I think I just only don't like it when white people do it. Because I'm like, yeah, bald people can shave their head. Like black people can
But
shave their
white
head bald.
people,
Like that's cool. I don't have a problem with that. Samuel
Oh,
L. Jackson, whoever wants to.
yeah.
I have a few friends. I'm like, I get it. Messing with hair sucks. But I don't know. Sometimes I see young kids out and about and their heads are shaved for the look, and I'm just like, you gotta cherish it. You don't know what you've got, man.
Yeah.
You don't know what you have right now. Like, cherish it. Don't do this.
Well,
But
that's kind of true. Yeah, I mean, young people have no appreciation for hair. I mean, of course they don't. If you shave your head when you're 16, just because, I mean, okay, then you know what? Full stop, they're not bald. How about that? If you're 16 and you have a full head of hair and you just shave your hair because it's hot out, then
yeah,
then you're not exactly you're like a temporary, you got like a visitor badge in the bald community.
yeah,
But no, you got to
visitor
earn
badge.
these
That's good.
stripes. You got to get blown up in a chemical accident. That's how that's how you become a member of the bald community.
Is there anything that you wanted to do with hair that you weren't you that you regret? Like for example, like I always wanted to dye my hair like purple or like blue or like a crazy color, and I always wanted to have a mohawk, and now I can't. It's too late.
When I was maybe a teenager, this was never going to happen anyway. But if you're like, what's a hair wish that I would grant? I wanted cornrows. I thought,
Ah,
I
yeah.
don't know what I thought. Well, cornrows were so cool. So yeah, I cornrows I think would be it. But now I would want a fade. A real, just a nice fade down the side. But yeah, that was
Mm,
it. I wanted cornrows because like a guy in the WWF had cornrows, and I was like, that's cool. I want that.
yeah. The Road Dog Jesse James had cornrows. Is
You
that it?
nailed it. It was the Road Dog Jesse James.
Yeah.
What a deep cut.
DX baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, only a certain kind of a white guy can pull that off too, but he did it. And Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Down did it. Danny McBride. And he's not bald, but that's one of my favorite characters ever written. That's such a great character.
Cornrows tells you so much about a person. If I had cornrows, I think I would be a different person.
Yeah. I'd be like, this guy knows where the drugs are.
Yeah, exactly. And I have maybe like a
Or he's a rapper.
or
SoundCloud.
he's a rapper. Yeah. That was always one of my dreams too. I don't think hair stopped me from being a rapper. I think my inability to rap stopped that. But that was
Mm,
always my dream. So now I do a podcast. That's close enough for me. There's a microphone. I'm like, ooh, we're right there. We're right there.
you're so close.
Yeah.
You just gotta just start slowly. Just have questions that just kind of rhyme and have a little like rhythm to it, and then just see if anybody notices. Like, did you just rap a question at me? Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh, did you notice? Oh, yeah. It just comes out sometimes. They're like, did you draw cornrows on the side of your head? I'm like, yeah, a little bit, They're just stripes right now.
Tattooed cornrows.
Now, I don't like when people get the dots, the SMP, like the hairlines and stuff, but I am pro head tattoos that are something else. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. Um, I wouldn't do it, but I do. I think it's a good look most of the time. I have a few friends that have the whole thing like roses and like an eagle eating a snake, like crazy shit. Yeah.
Yeah, somehow there's always going to be a snake. My first thought was a snake. I want like the Egyptian
Yeah.
pyramids. I want a snake, a skull, and I don't know, some other stuff. I'm just like, just go crazy,
An
I don't
eight
really care what you
ball.
put up there. Yeah, oh, 8 ball, there you go.
Yeah.
All the classics, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do like a ship anchor in the back or something.
The ace of spades and a couple of dice.
Yeah, that would be sick. I think that'll be my next big move is just do full head tattoo and then be the guy with the tattoos on his head.
You could get Godzilla.
Are you kidding me? I see,
honestly.
I'm in so many Godzilla Facebook groups, and people are getting Godzilla tattoos all the time, and I'm like, okay, you're close. I don't have any tattoos, and I'm a little scared, but I'm like, if I do it, I'm going off the deep end. Give me the full, yeah. Give me Godzilla versus Mothra versus Mechagodzilla, just all fighting it out on top of my head.
That would be sick. I've got a couple. They're all movie related.
Cool. Can you explain the movies behind all of these awesome tattoos for the people listening?
Um, yeah, this is a movie sleeve that basically never got finished, but this is the Wayland Yutani evil corporation from Aliens. This
Cool.
is the tattoo in Starship Troopers that everybody gets together. There's a scene where they all get it, they all go ah like that. So now I have it too. And this is the evil corporation Tyrell from Blade Runner, Harrison Ford.
That's awesome.
And that don't worry about that. Yeah, I've got some on my legs too. Boba Fett and some other stuff.
That's awesome, man. You're such a creative dude. I feel like that's the through line from everything that I've learned about you is you are just like you're an artist trapped in a 9 to 5 world is kind of what it says to me. And I hope you break
Can't
out,
wait
man.
to get out. Yeah. Thank you. Me too. I appreciate that. What my thing is too is like one of these things will get me out. Whether it's the book or the bald thing or the band or the one of my films or something, but it's coming. I'm not gonna stop till it does.
Yeah. Good for you, man. Like keep going. And I'm sure everybody watching this is going to be pulling for you too. But let's wrap this thing up, or else we're just going to keep talking more and
Yeah.
more about nerdier and nerdier things. Where can people find you and all the stuff that you're working on, and be specific and detailed? Because Brian does a lot of things. If you don't know Brian,
Yeah, I mean, you can find the Bald Bible on Instagram at the.Bald.Bible. Um, I'm at the Bryan Powell, BryanPowell. Actually, from there you can link to my the short films, my YouTube channel, Harry. The Bald Bible is in my bio. So yeah, if you find me on Instagram, you can pretty much find all my stuff. Um, yeah, youtube.com/ at lower levels. My band Cell Shade. It's also, I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll probably see it. Um, we've got a couple shows coming up if you're in Texas. And I am actually releasing a poetry book tomorrow on my birthday, July 14th. So I assume by the time you're watching this, it's already out. So check out Parlor Ornaments. It's a poetry collection of like 130 poems, ranging from when I was age 18 all the way up to like now. So it's like 20 years in the making. Finally feel confident enough to release it. But yeah, and I'm always working on something. So I always need an audience and people to tell me how much they hate it or love it or think it's okay.
well, if they haven't, go watch Harry because it really is delightful to watch, especially if you're a bald person.
Yeah, yeah. YouTube.com/ Your Invited TV. Harry, I think, is the pinned video there. But I'll put it back in my Instagram bio.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I mean, I really want people to see it. I feel like people really will enjoy it. It's a hidden gem, is what I'll say right now. It's soon to be discovered by a whole new audience of bald people.
Harry, we actually almost did not release Harry. There was something with the audio during like the scene where I'm at work. We deemed it unreleasable for whatever reason. So it literally sat on our YouTube channel on private, hidden from the world for like I think 4 or 5 years. And then one day I went back and I watched it. I almost forgot all about it. And I was like, holy shit, this thing is great. And we put so much time and effort, and there's so many people in this who contributed to it and did great jobs and acted. And so I just hit public and I shared it, and it it did okay, but it has a lot of people really like it. So I'm really glad I decided to just put it out there, because that's the thing too, is like perfection is the enemy of progress. And anybody who creates stuff or does anything knows that the hardest part is actually hitting publish or hitting send, or putting yourself out there, because then that means that people can judge it. But if you don't, no one's ever going to see it. So who cares? Put it out there. And that's my final message.
No, that's a great one too. I mean, that resonates with me, and I'm sure a lot of people, because yeah, you can spend all day playing with something that you're making, but it's not actually done until you put it out there. And perfection is not obtainable for
Hmm.
us people living in this matrix. It's like, just put your stuff out there and make more stuff. And I'm very glad I got to talk to somebody who's just making a ton of stuff and putting a ton of stuff out there, Brian. So happy birthday if I don't get to talk to you
Thank you.
tomorrow. And thanks so much for coming on, man. This really was a great time.
Yeah, Steve, thanks so much for having me. It's so nice to meet you and talk to you. And I look forward to continuing our online friendship, and happy to come back anytime.
Oh, online friendship. Oh my God. Yes. I'm excited to be your online friend, Brian. And if I'm ever in Texas, I'm going to come find you.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have a bald meetup.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Baldest. Thank you so much, Bryan Powell, for coming on the show. What a cool guy. What an amazing guest. I'll leave links to all of his stuff in the description. Go check out The Bald Bible. Go check out the short film Harry. It is very funny and worth watching, as well as all of Brian's other stuff. If you enjoyed this conversation and you want to see more conversations like it, please subscribe to the show, leave a review, leave a comment. It really does help grow the channel and attract more great guests like Brian. I'll also leave links to all my social media. We've got some bald meetups coming up in August, so follow me if you want to be up to date on all the things going on within the bald community. And remember that no amount of hair should determine your value. Until next time, let your head shine and your mind will follow. This is The Baldest.